Welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Teachers Podcast. With me today is my dear sister Shaina. Shaina also goes by the name given to her by the Yawanawa tribe, Nai Ushu Nawa, meaning sky, white, non-Indigenous person. So it's such an honor to have you on today, Shaina. Welcome on.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Peter. It's such a pleasure to be here.
It's a huge honor to have you on today, Shaina. So Shaina is also the co-founder of Spirit of the Forest, which is a mission to help Indigenous people of the Amazon, as well as co-founder of Global Sisterhood, which is an international movement of women doing women's circles and self-development. And some of the topics that we'll talk about today is Shaina's awakening journey, relationship with plant medicine and the journey with that, self-healing and listening to your own body, Kambo medicine, and the Sacred Bridge event. So I'm super stoked to dive into this with you. So can you share a little bit about how your awakening journey started?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like I'm at this chapter right now where I'm kind of like closing this previous chapter, which started with my awakening journey.
Hmm.
So it was about 7 years ago. So I feel like these 7 year cycles are super important. Um and it kind of all like catalyzed around my Saturn return, which makes a
Hmm.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I went through this big process. I mean, there was many years even leading up to that where I was just like, I don't know who I am. And I could feel that. And it
Hmm.
was just like I was looking at all these things around me that were so like perfect. I had this great partner, I had a great job, I was doing all the things that I thought I was supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
And I felt very numb and miserable,
Yeah.
like in this like deeper part of my soul. Like I've always been happy and like enjoying life, grateful, but like it was like only like it was like shallow, you know, didn't feel
Yeah.
like it encompassed my whole being. And because it didn't encompass my whole being, I had manifested all kinds of like sicknesses. I had Lyme disease for a long time, just many different kinds of like health crises. And there I was working in my office in San Francisco. I worked for Bloomberg for a long time. And at the time, I was working for their venture capital group, which in 2016, 2017, 2018 was like the height of investing in AI. And, there'd be robots in my office and the
Wow.
stingrays. And it was very like cool. It was
Yeah.
cool. It was super cool. I was meeting cool people and I was enjoying, but again, I was like in this like shallow experience of life.
Hmm.
Um, and and I think what happened, I mean, there's many things that happened, but like the monumental one was I realized like what it meant to be a woman in the workplace. And that
Mm.
was kind of like the crux of my experience. Um and I just saw how like the men could kind of like become and be whoever they wanted. They could have children, they could do their work, they could um they could follow in this like path that was laid out for us. And
Hmm.
I was also following this path that was laid out for us, but I was finding that like I had to work extra hard, that, I was like hit on. There was just like things, right? Like that I was just like, wow, I didn't learn these experiences from women. Why? Because women didn't have the opportunity to pave the path. I'm kind of one of the first ones. I mean, out of like the millions of women that are walking at the same moment, right? But
Hmm.
like the generations before us didn't have bank accounts. Like it was just like I started to realize like the movement that was happening now for women
Hmm.
like me to be in the workplace. And it was kind of like this really big moment for me, of understanding that like where I was in history, like where I
Hmm.
was in time. And that moment like meant a lot to me because it kind of like showed me how my life had been made, what I had learned. Um, and I started to realize that I wanted to unlearn and I wanted to find out who I really was. And I wanted to be the woman that I want to be, not because someone prescribed it to me, but because I wanted to find it inside of myself. And
That's
so the
super
universe
powerful.
conspired, right?
Yeah, it's super
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. It was really powerful. Like even thinking back at that moment, like to see how much conspired all around me to make it all happen. And that's when, you know, I had that 15-minute window of universe magic where like I met a man in my office. My boss was late for a meeting. He's like, can you go meet with this guy and talk to him while I'm late? And in that 15 minutes, that's the guy who invited me to meet my then business, which is where I went to after I left venture capital, and we started this women's movement. And
Wow.
so it was all around the same time. And that's when I met the medicine and everything. It was one big conspiring for me to help me, you know, to help
Mm.
me find myself. But it's like the journey is so freaking hard that I think they put the magic in there just so you can like feel excited about it. But then it's like, then we're gonna fuck you up, you know?
Yeah, then you're in the then you're in the cauldron basically, right? Yeah.
So excuse my French, but I just like it really is like one of these things that like I always like say this about many things. It's not for the faint of heart, right? Because you really have to have this warrior spirit to really go through because you cannot stop, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, once you're in, you're in.
Yeah,
You're
and I
on the
make
roller
jokes like
coaster.
that.
You can't get off the roller coaster once it's going, you know?
I make jokes to my teachers like, oh, I'm done. And they're like, no, you're not. Like, this is it. Like, you cannot go back now. And it's just one of these things that it's just like, I feel like I'm in a lot of peace now, I think, um, with it, more peace, not a lot of peace. I'm in more peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just, you know, I think peace can be something that's unfolding into this vast ocean that we can't even quite understand. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So this man came in and the video broke up a little bit at that moment, but so he connected you with a woman that connected you to the tribes. Is that
basically, yeah,
okay?
like she became my portal to like everything my life was to become. And so like not only was she like a mentor and teacher for me, she was my partner. She believed in me, she saw me, and she saw not only like who I was but who I was becoming. And so like the softer more sensitive, shy part of me, you know, that I
Mhm.
didn't know because I was always just like presenting this other way.
Yeah.
um and so
Okay,
I was
that's
really grateful for
beautiful.
that. Mhm.
So where did it go from there?
Can you hear this music in the background, by the way?
No, no,
Somehow this like country music is like vibing in the back. Okay.
no, I can't hear it.
Um, and so where did I go from here? I went to Austin.
Okay.
And it was kind of like one of those moments I had sat with plant medicine for the first time. Um, and like everything became magical, you know, like the book that I'm reading is like speaking to me, and the people that I'm meeting, and like everything was like very like almost like a film, you know, like, but it was like this new like magical layer of reality.
Yeah.
And so I moved to Austin, and I was very like with this feeling like we're going to change the world, and like the visions I was having and everything that I was seeing was like very, you know, like this because of this mission, global sisterhood. They were already like, when I joined this movement, they had women's circles in like 80 countries. Like
Whoa.
they had 10 languages. They were doing these monthly women's circles. It was a movement. It was a free movement of women.
Wow. That's amazing.
And I got hired to help them make money because they were like just um anyways, it's a long story, but there was a bunch of problems
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that were very like, they were very symbolic of what had happened between men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very karmic. The whole thing, the way it all happened was very karmic. I guess in the sense that it was just like very strong and very symbolic, everything. And so yeah, so Lauren and I went through that journey together, um and we started developing these programs for people to learn how to become a facilitator. And it was like perfect. This was the same time as the pandemic. Like we launched in January 2020, these
Wow.
online programs. So everything was very
Right before
guided.
COVID, right?
Right before 2 months, 3 months, we did our
Yeah.
first online program. And so we kind of just rode that wave um, until basically I was like ready for my next layer of healing,
Mm-hmm.
which is not like I felt ready. It was just like my life was like, you're needing something. And there was many strong things that happened, and it was super intense for me. And a lot of like my faculties were opening, but I didn't know how to deal with it. And I felt very like kind of vulnerable.
When you say
And
faculties, what do you mean by that?
like I think like my ability to feel other people like opened in a big way.
Hmm.
And so like my friend was going through a very intense process, and like that person was going through this intense process, but I was laid out on the couch, like I couldn't function.
Mm.
So, and there was like weeks of me being unable to function. And, you know, just the dreams and like everything that was happening for me was very strong. And I
Hmm.
felt very connected to the situation, like not just because of my proximity, but also because of like the physical sensorial experience I was having in my body. And so, and I didn't know how to understand that.
Hmm.
You know, I didn't like, I had friends that could sympathize with me and that understood in a way because they experienced that too, but I didn't have teachers, you know. I had
Yeah.
peers.
Yeah.
And so it was in 2021 on International Women's Day that we hosted this like giant online event. We had women come from all over the world to be together because we're in the pandemic, right?
Hmm.
And I felt in my heart that there was an Indigenous woman that was meant to come and sing to open up this like weekend of activities.
Hmm.
And my business partner, Lauren Walsh, she called upon my now best friend and business partner, Angelique Watson, to have her teacher, Kenema Yawanawa, come and sing. And when
Oh,
Kenema came
beautiful.
to sing, I lost it. And like I again, I still had this very hard, I was very hard still like inside of my heart. And so for me to cry like that was like um you know, it was like one of those moments where you're just
Super
like,
healing and like opening,
mm-hmm,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And just like follow, you know,
Uh-huh.
follow that.
Yeah.
And so I started working with Kenema online. We helped them that year they had really bad floods in the Yawanawa village. And so we helped them with like a food security project. And then they invited me to come down to Brazil. Um, and I went for my second time going to Brazil. My first time was many years before, ironically, to like the very same places I ended up going
Wow.
back to in Bahia. And I went to Bahia. My teacher, Kenema Yawanawa, lives in Bahia with her husband.
Hmm.
And they have a healing center there. And I went there and like healed of all these things, like within 1 week.
Wow. Okay, so
And
they're
then
like, are they deep in the jungle or is the healing center like kind of outside the city or where is it located?
so it's in Bahia, Brazil. It's in this beautiful beach location called Serra Grande. It's the
Mm.
Atlantic forest. It's beautiful forest, and they have a lot of the same plants as they have in the Amazon.
Hmm.
Um, and so at the time, their center wasn't even built yet. This is like 2021. Their center hadn't been fully completed yet.
Hmm.
Um, and we stayed at someone else's center, a good friend of ours.
Hmm.
And they hosted like a retreat, right? You come and you get to participate in their traditional games and their ceremonies um and Kambo. That's where one of the first like treatments I experienced of Kambo.
So
And the
for those
face painting, all of
yeah,
it.
for those people that don't know what combo is, can you give a little brief description of that?
Yeah, it's a secretion that comes off the back of a frog. It almost looks like a white film
Hmm.
that they apply. It works almost like a poison or something to our bodies, right?
Hmm.
And they apply it through uh, you know, very surface level burns that then
Hmm.
they then apply the secretion of this frog. Um, and you have like a purgatory effect,
Hmm.
and it doesn't last very long. It's quite strong for many people,
Yeah.
and you know, it's really good for the lymphatic system. It's really good for a lot of things. Um, and it's become very popular, I think, in the US now. Like, I think people are hearing more about it. I have a lot of caution about the way people are serving it, who's serving it, all these kinds of things, just because who I learned from and that tradition, it's like from their bloodline. Um, Not that I'm against Western practitioners. I just don't know them. you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and so for me, yeah. So I received my treatment originally with them, and I
And that was
received
your first
so
time
much
sit.
healing.
That was your first time.
It was not my first time. I had received from a friend of ours before that, and but this was like the deepest experience I ever had. Like I was purging for like several days after.
Mm. Wow.
And I used to be completely allergic to tobacco, so I
Mhm.
could never take hape, like some of the stuff like that, is very traditional in these circles. And I lost my hape allergy, like many different. I used to have like this like marks on my skin. They all went away. I
Wow.
like all this like inflammation in my body because like I said, I had dealt with health stuff before, it just went away. I
Mhm.
literally like looked different in 1 week to the next, and I never
Yeah.
went back.
Yeah.
And so it was a big like purifying moment for me, like
Mhm.
baptism,
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
Amazonian baptism.
Yeah. It brings up um, the thought for me that when I sat with ayahuasca, the next day my stomach was flat. Like I, because you purge and you cleanse so much energy, and it just made me realize how much I was holding in my body, and it may look like a little belly or a little like extra like fat, but really it's like inflammation, it's bloating, it's these other aspects of like holding emotions in the body, And I was fascinated how in one session, well, it was 2 days in a row, but like how quickly I got my abs back, It's just like over 2 days, and that was the moment where I realized like it's all just energy and it's all emotions just stuck in the body that need to be purged and released. And so it sounds like, yeah, it sounds like you had some really big cleanses during that event, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild for me. But I mean, it's like they became my family like very quickly. Like these people, it was very clear. It was like the
Mhm.
second day I was there, I felt like you're gonna live here. I'm like it's so far from home, like um and just like the feeling that I had with them was something so familiar. I felt like their daughter. And they're not
Mhm.
that much older than me, but I just like that's just how I felt. I felt very young, but I felt like I was able to learn for like the very first time in this way where it was just like everything was opening, everything was very clear. Like I would sit in front of Kenema and she would sing. And like when I was a kid, like if you would have seen me as a kid, all I did is sing. But then that was like my mechanism. I shut it down. I stopped singing. And I
Mm.
learned a lot about that recently. But it's just like it was that way of being like, you want me to be like this, but I'm going to be like the opposite of that. I'm going to close everything down. I'm not going to express. I'm going to like stay quiet. And that's what I did for a lot of my life. And I think that's why I manifested all these kind of sicknesses because of my subconscious, really shutting down.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thank God for Kenema because she not only helped me open my voice, she helped me open my artistry, my paintings, my drawings. Um,
Beautiful.
and and so after like a week of being there with them, they were opening a diet, and I knew nothing about a diet. I didn't know anything about the indigenous, like this way that the indigenous are kind of like everywhere now, and we see all this kind of stuff, and there's like teachings and training, whatever. I didn't know anything. I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't know what a diet was. Like I, so anyways, they were doing this diet, and I was like, shoot, like
So what is it?
called to
What is a
this.
diet?
Yeah, so a diet, so I could speak from the Yawanawa as much as I know, right? Like a diet is a sacred time of purification. Um, the way they traditionally do it is they pray for you into a pot. Um, and the pot is very symbolic of like who we are as a vessel, right? We're like a pot. They
Yeah.
pray within our being, like so they pray within this pot. Whatever it is you're wanting to fortify within yourself, whatever it is you're wanting to open within yourself, healing, and each diet is different. And the prayers are different, and the way the traditions pray is different. Um, I know the pot is shared amongst like different tribes within the Amazon, but again, I don't know so much about them. Um, and so they pray within this pot called the Muti, and you drink the sacred beverage, which is like a kaisuma. It's like what do you call it here? Tapioca. It's like a mixture of this plant. And sometimes they put corn and you drink after the prayers have been put into this liquid beverage. And this starts what is your 30-day diet. And so this diet is nothing that tastes of sweet, nothing that tastes of sweet. So like no fruit for sure, but like even something that tastes like sweet. No, even water, they say tastes like sweet. So you put lemon in your water, but you're not even allowed to have water for like the first 2 weeks. So no water, nothing that tastes of sweet, no pure water, nothing that tastes of sweet, and no red meat, nothing that has a lot of blood. It's not even red meat. It's just nothing that has a lot of blood. And then no sex, no sexual relations. And you know, it's this way to really like create this like, now I'm realizing this has a lot to do with like just like the taste that bitter brings. It brings like this kind of like astringent quality. Like the diet's supposed to be like this, it's purity. And I feel like those foods like bitter and astringent, like it brings this like this cleansing to the body and these kinds of things. And so in this diet, you're really not eating so much, but it's like you get like one banana ball a day. It's like this big,
Wow.
maybe two,
Uh-huh.
depending on how strong the diet is and like what your level of study is. Maybe you get one, they give you less. For us, they were giving us two. And then a little bit of kaisuma, which is like the same kind of drink you drank at the beginning of the diet, but it's like not that much. And then you get a little bit more every day. And then like maybe you get rice one day or beans. And the intention of the diet is to study. And so you're studying like the prayers in their traditional language, the saiti, which is their traditional chants. And you're studying yourself, your patterns. You know, you have an intention, like what that is, kind of like, and you start to kind of like use the different medicines. They work with hape, they work with uni. Uni is ayahuasca, what they call uni. And they call hape ruma. And
Uma.
ruma. And then they work with supa, which is tree sap. And so this is like a smudge that you burn. So like every morning you wake up as the sun kind of crests in the morning and you say your prayers with the sapa smoke. And they call Rawawa Ki. It's like this affirmative prayer. You affirm what it is you want, you know, and you say these prayers in the affirmative, and then you do those prayers again at night. And the days are past studying and kind of being with yourself. And it's a really, really beautiful experience. It's also very strong. Like my first one was like amazing, like a dream. My second one was like, it was fine during it, but then after it was really intense. It's just they're like really not to be messed with. And they say that within the Yawanawa, they say that the spirits are always watching. And so they're watching everything that you do. They see you, everything. And they see like if you're really trying and like you're trying to open your voice and you keep singing every day, you're singing and you're doing the thing, but you're like not getting it, that one day they'll take pity on you and they will help you and they will help open your voice. And like I found that to be really true, that they really are watching and they really do take pity on you and they really will help you out if you deserve. You know, that's what they say. It's like it's a lot about deserving. And so it's like this interesting way that you begin to play with the elements of life and with life itself, like that things don't come for free. They come with payment of your own dedication, your perseverance, your love, your devotion, you know, these things that like you begin to see are in exchange. And that life has many layers of intelligence. And so it's this much more subtle layer of intelligence that we don't always work with, you know, especially in the West, because things are so busy and fast.
So it sounds like it's also like developing your intuition and really tapping into that and connecting you potentially with communication with spirits and with your ancestors and things of that nature, right?
Each person's different, right? But it's like it's definitely going to tap you into the more subtle layers of experience. And so for some people that's communication, some people that's vision, you know, some people that's everything, right? Like that's what I'm learning with this path. It's like like there's so many sensorial like way more than 5 or 6 or 7 senses is like, I just heard someone say 34. Like there's so many different ways that we can experience the world, and um the medicines and these diets like help open different
Hmm.
faculties, like what I was talking about before, faculties, I'd say like this sometimes. And it's really amazing to me because like some people can like hear, some people can see, some people can download, whatever you want to call, they can hear messages. Like everyone's so different, and I believe we all have this capacity. We're just so busy to even realize.
Hmm.
And so, but we all have, you know, and your dreams open a lot. I mean, that's kind of the one of the things in the diet. You like listen to your dreams and you
Mm.
recall your dreams. And so it's a big dream study as well. um the Yawanawa have really amazing ways of remembering their ancestral heritage in a big way, is remembering through their dreams, like even about what these sacred plants do. Like all the plants in the Amazon look the same, but they can recall in their dreams what plant is going to help with like a stingray bite. And
Mm.
I've heard many stories of like these um they're sensational stories, right? Because we don't have necessarily always these this understanding of you can recall in this kind of way, right? That they
Hmm.
have this, and it's very much part of their culture. It's normal. um and so it's really beautiful to experience like these cultures that have a different way of being with the world,
Yeah,
the natural world.
it's fascinating. So, is it always is ayahuasca always incorporated into dietas? Like, is that kind of traditional to be drinking at least like a couple of times a week?
Yeah, so it's interesting now because like uni, like first of all, like we have to put it in context of like how everything has happened. Like 60 years ago, probably nobody was drinking the medicine, and they probably weren't doing diets because they had the rubber tappers first, the missionaries, and they had to shut down their culture for a very long time. It's
Hmm.
only been within like the last 20 years that women have even been allowed to drink.
Wow.
Um, thanks to Hushahu Yawanawa. She was the first woman to drink the medicine. She was also went on to become the first Page with her sister Putini. Um, so it's like it's interesting because it's like, what is the way of the diet? I guess maybe now like you can say, yes, it is traditional to drink the medicine, but like diets were for men before. Like
Mm.
women never participated in diets. It's only been like the last 20 years
Oh,
or
wow.
so. And so, you know, it's like a great privilege, not only that as a woman that I can participate, but also as a Nawa, a non-Indigenous woman of another peoples, that I can participate.
Hmm.
So it's like yeah, like everything's changed, right? You know, like the fact that they have non-Indigenous people in their villages, the fact that they offer their cultural initiations to
Hmm.
non-Indigenous people. Like it's all a tremendous privilege um, that was not available before. So it's
Yeah.
kind of all new, and it's kind of
Yeah.
unfolding too. It's like, but this is very much like the river kind of like opens, and this is like a new way the river is flowing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like almost like a dam has been lifted. Now the river
Yeah,
can really
yeah,
flow.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that
that's really
helps.
beautiful. What a powerful time to reincarnate, right?
Sometimes I'm like, okay, fine. And sometimes I'm stoked about it. So
Yeah, I mean, that's so powerful. I didn't know that, how 20 years ago was kind of the start of when women could drink and sit with dieta. That's really amazing. So, uh, from my understanding, like with the Shipibo people and other tribes, that sometimes they'll give you a specific plant to connect with and to work with,
mm-hmm.
and that's kind of like your plant that you build a relationship with for 30 days, and you really sometimes can hear like songs and music like related to that plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so did they give you a specific plant to work with or not in that one?
So it's interesting. Like the first plant you work with is the mama, which is like this tapioca, like the macaxeira. Gosh, I always was thinking Portuguese, but it's like the yeah tapioca plant. I think
Uh,
that's what you call it here, right? Like tapioca, like you go
yeah.
get the root vegetable. Um, but so the Yawanawa like are interesting because like my teacher Kenema Yawanawa has like I think 7 different indigenous bloods within her. And so like their Saiti, for example, like a lot of them, their Saiti Kawa, which is like the most basic level of Saiti, they don't have so many translations, direct translations. So you sing and you feel, but a lot of them are so ancient that they don't know what they say. And then as you get into these higher levels of the songs, they have like more specific Yawanawa words that they're saying. But even that the language is such a blend of many cultures.
Uh-huh.
And so it's like the way that I understand it, like they do connect with plants, but it's different than what I understand people telling me about the Shipibo. Like I don't know because I never did a Shipibo diet, but from what I understand, it's slightly different. But they do connect with plants. So they have like the Uchi, for example, which is a pepper. They have the Mukah, which is their sacred plant that gives you the power to heal. So all the teachers that I work with, they have this plant, the Mukah. You have to be in a year-long diet in order to do. It's a very like deep and high level of initiation.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so they do have different plants of power that they work with, and they also work with animals. So there's you can do diets that are related to the animals as well. And so like the snake has different diets. Like there's one where you just like touch the snake. And so I'm no expert on this by any means, but they do have like on the plant and animal side different dietas that you follow.
That's so
Um,
interesting. So, like with the animals, you're just like connecting to their spirit, basically.
I can't really say so much about it because I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, I imagine like for them the Jaboya, the Renua, the boa constrictor is like one of these um like wisdom keepers.
right.
And so they connect with this force to connect to that force.
Yeah, I mean, the anaconda would be something amazing that lives down there, right? Like to connect with because it's like the largest snake in the world. That would be some really powerful energy, I would imagine.
Yeah. And yeah, so I don't know, like and they have like this would be something for like one of the great chiefs to talk about because I don't know. And
Yeah.
yeah, like Matsini, who's the chief of the village, like maybe he could talk or Hushahu, but I have nothing to say about this.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, where did your journey go from there? From this beautiful healing that you experienced?
It just became a path of service. Like I just wanted to give back. It was just like very simple for me. I just wanted to give back. I wanted to support. I wanted to work with my family members that I had just met. And I went to the Amazon, I think with them like 6 months later. They took me and we went to the Mahdi, which is like the big festival they have down there. You wear like grass skirts and like and this festival has been like restored because for many years they had the rubber tappers and the missionaries, they weren't allowed to celebrate in their traditional ways. And so this is like a big restorative moment for them to wear their traditional clothes, to paint themselves in urakum, which is like the red body paint, um, and and to sing. And it's really fun. It was super intense for me. Um, but it was really beautiful to see. So basically, it just like started opening this path where I wanted to learn, I wanted to experience, I wanted to understand what I had received, I wanted to give back. And then very soon after that, we started Spirit of the Forest, where we were starting to sell like their traditional products in the US, and offer retreats, different ways for people to come down and experience the magic that I had gotten to touch, for other people to come. And so,
Beautiful.
yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the festival? Like, is it different tribes gathering together, or is it mostly just the Yawanawas?
Mm-hmm.
And is it like people gathering in music circles and taking medicine, or is it more like dancing? What does the festival look like?
It is a giant festival of the tribe itself, of the Yuanwa. And then there's other tribes that come and visit because it's fun and they invite other people to come. Um, And so it's like a big gathering, very tons of people. And then now they bring the Nawas and non-Indigenous to come too. So they invite, people from all over the world to come. And so you see other people there. And there's a time for medicine, but there's also a time for games, talks and whatnot. It's very busy. It's like it's a festival, right? Like there's always things happening, and they have like a traditional like alcoholic beverage. It's called kaisuma.
Uh-huh.
It's the same drink that I was drinking in my diet. It's just fermented,
Okay.
and um, and so they drink that. They have these crazy games that they play. It's fun.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. That's really
Mhm.
beautiful. What a beautiful journey so far.
Yeah, right. It's like it's wild to me, like connecting. I'm just like I'm in this moment right now where I'm just kind of like don't look back. Like all these things are behind me, but there's also like so much here that I'm just really enjoying what's here. It's taking a lot of
Yeah.
work to get here. I'm
Yeah.
just enjoying. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. So, uh, from there, you traveled many times back to visit them?
I went back one other time to go to do another diet
Mm.
in the village. That was last February. And it was very beautiful during it. In some ways, it was very difficult in other ways, and I understand why now. And I just felt like I couldn't connect, felt very disconnected. And and then I like they say this word in Portuguese, peia. It's like suffering. I went through a lot of peia after the diet. It was very intense for me for like almost a year. Now I understand all of it. And it's just the process I was working with. It was so deep, and like it was such a confused part of me, such like I don't know, something that's very hard to work with. Um, and it just took a long time to unravel. And like all the cords it was related to, and the wound that I was carrying, and like it's very old, very difficult.
Childhood stuff coming up to be cleared out.
Child, yeah, deep, so deep. And so, yeah, so now I feel really grateful, but it was very intense. And so that's why I say like these diets are not like you have to be like super called, like don't just hear me and think you want to do a diet. Like it's like something that, you know, and they say this like with the medicines I really love, that's like comes, it rises from your heart, like this feeling, not just because somebody else is doing it, because it comes like this. And it's like these things are serious, in the same way the spirits are watching, like they're watching you, like if you're not, yeah, it's just not to be messed with is my sense, and that's kind of how I feel about all the sacred medicines, that it's like it's serious, they're not to be messed with, they deserve respect, you know,
The
and
highest
the
respect. Yeah.
highest,
Yeah.
and it's not just spiritual bypassing respect, like it's something that is seen like what, but it's like so sacred, and I'm sacred too. And I'm just like, and it's not to judge because I don't want to judge, but I do judge because I'm a human being. But but it's just like, it's just, yeah, there's a form. And that's why I appreciate like learning from a tradition. Um, because for me, it's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, the medicine can tell me, but I don't know. Like, I like hearing from people that like this is they grow from this stuff.
Right.
And that's me. Everybody has their own path. I respect each one, really. I might judge you a little bit, but I respect. And so, but it is what it is. Like that's what was my calling. And that was also my privilege that I got
Mhm.
to experience in this way. And
Yeah.
so, um,
And you
and
have
so
you have some you have some Bolivian ancestry, right? So
yeah, my
it's,
mom's side.
yeah, so it's kind of like in your blood, in some regard, right? Like in your
Yeah.
lineage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I found out like recently because I'm the grandchild that's always asking my grandparents all the questions and the stories, and I love hearing and I record them. Um, and I found out my grandparents live very close to the Yawanawa in a part of Bolivia that's also in the Amazon.
Wow.
Um, Very close, like really not that far, a few days driving, maybe closer.
Hmm.
Um, and so for me, that was kind of very, and I felt that way. Like when I went to the Amazon village for the first time, I saw all these butterflies. There's tons of butterflies. Like going to the Amazon, wow, like the most beautiful colors. And I felt like that I felt like this connection, like super deep when I saw these butterflies. Like I just like
Mm.
I don't know my ancestors, but like, you know what I mean? I felt like something very ancient inside of me that when I saw these butterflies, it meant something to me. And, and so, yeah, knowing the proximity of also my ancestry was also very strong for me, that out of all the places in the world I could have ended up there. And it was also very close to where my ancestors had been. Um, and so, yeah, that brings like an interesting feeling inside, because I don't know so much about my ancestry, to be honest. Like I know a little bit back a few
Mhm.
generations. But then before that, I don't know. Like a lot of my ancestors on both sides were refugees,
Mhm.
um, from inquisitions and Holocausts and things as such. So it's interesting for me, like just to
Yeah.
know a little bit.
Yeah, so you mentioned that calling, right? So when did you feel that for the first time, and what did it feel like?
It felt like remembering something,
Mm.
you know. It's like I felt this kind of when I was in my office, you know what I mean? Because it was like when I started to remember this thing about like being a woman, where I was in time, that's what it felt like. It felt like a remembering, like I was like knowing something that I already knew, like because it felt so true in my consciousness. Like it was like I always knew it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and so when I heard like her sing to me and I like lost it in these tears, like it was like that, like something I had always known, but like I was remembering like this like part of me, this like true part of me, right? Because she's like piercing right into my heart and letting like out this stuff that had been so protected. um and so it's such a beautiful feeling. It just felt like a raw like being, like you're just there in the present moment, but experiencing like this overwhelm of presence, of like touching something true, pure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was it difficult, excuse me, was it difficult to integrate when you would come back?
Yeah, it still is. I just got back. I was in Brazil for 6 months. I just got back. It's important. And the way my path is, I don't know if I always get the proper amount of time to integrate. Um, but as I get older, I'm like respecting the time it takes more.
Yeah.
Um, and I cannot like blame my previous self because it was just doing the best it knew. But it's just, yeah, things take time. And coming back from Brazil also takes time because for me, like my heart opens there and I love it. And it's like this different side of myself. Everything's more in the flow. And then I come back here and people are like, but it's like 4:30 and then we're gonna meet at 5. And I'm just like they don't do that there, like at all, at all. Like it's like you show up when it's like time to show up, like which is like when it takes you time to do everything that you were doing and like talk to that person for as long as you feel like and do that other thing. And like I'm starting to learn how to be in that flow. And it's so relieving of like
Yeah.
all this anxiety that I
Yeah. Yeah.
carried in my life, of being like, I'm doing that. So, so yeah, it takes time to integrate. And it's not just like the spiritual stuff, it's like the lifestyle stuff, it's the way of being, it's the nature, it's the food. It's like it's just different.
Yeah, they call that in some traditions they call that spirit time.
Mm-hmm.
Just be running on
Mm-hmm.
spirit time. Whenever it lines up, it's gonna line up, right? And
Yeah.
that's so different than, in America in a lot of ways. But it's so beautiful because then that can be reintegrated and kind of more of that feminine flow can be activated and brought into this reality, right? Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yeah. And that's what it is, right? That balance with the feminine. I have all these cute little dogs at the window that are trying to I'll leave them in there. But yeah, that's what it is, right? It's just it's like they have more of that connection to the feminine,
Mm.
which
And for those people that may be coming back from their first experience, or do you have any suggestions for integration? What's really helped you? What tools you could recommend?
Mhm. um like of course, like the things that you come back with, your tools for prayers, like those things help you, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and community is like big, and if it's you don't have community, find an integration coach. There's amazing people that are doing this kind of work, people that you can talk to about your experiences, because a lot of experiences are not something you could just talk to anybody about. I think also respecting your experiences. You don't have to tell everybody everything, because not everybody can receive it, and it kind of like breaks apart what it is you receive when you tell people that cannot receive it, is my experience.
Uh,
And and yeah, finding ways to like express, whether it's drawing or writing or um spending time in nature. All these things have helped me a lot. Spending time alone, um and I just remembering a lot of these things take time, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find like going in like bodies of water helpful, like the
Mm-hmm.
ocean or lakes or a bath, things like that, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. When I got back from my ayahuasca journey, I was so blasted open
Yeah.
that I just I was having a really hard time. It's like I was
Yeah.
walking along the ocean and like it was like my whole reality was blasted open, right?
Yeah.
And I was so overwhelmed. I felt like my crown and everything was just like super connected. I walked down to the beach and in San Diego, and this woman was standing there, and like I had this like intense heart pain. And I was like, whoa, I think I'm feeling whatever that person's going through. And it was like everything was just on like all my intuitive and, you know, all those aspects of myself were just on hyper mode, right? Like I was just hyper aware of everything. And I remember I'm so grateful to one of my buddies and his girlfriend at the time. They served me some hape and that and they like worked with me and really like dropped me back into my body because I was like way out here, like way out in, in that world. And it was really powerful because I felt myself come back into my body. Like part of me was still somewhere else. And there was a lot of tools that I was able to bring back into this reality from there. Being able to um, like spitting became a big thing where like if I was taking on energy, I would like spit or I would make little sounds to like move the energy up into back up to creator or to the earth to get alchemized, those kind of things became really helpful for me in everyday life. Do you feel like you brought back any aspects from those things into this world?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's funny because like only recently there's like little things that I started to do where I noticed a little bit. Like yesterday, I was with a good friend, and for me, there's certain things started to pick up, little like habits that I have, and but it's same thing, to clear energy. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
think each person like needs to find theirs. Um, but yeah, it's definitely important, because I think your point that you just shared is very important, I think, for the whole medicine community to hear. It's like, hey, here's these people that are drinking medicine, and then they're coming off their experience and they're very open. Like,
yeah,
this could be unsafe.
yeah,
You are very blessed. You had good friends that could help you. And so, like, this is like this point that I really want to urge, like, make sure that you have a good support system if you go into these experiences, because afterwards, should you need one, you have one. I think it's like the most important thing. And as medicine is becoming more prolific, like there's just more of it, and it's becoming more trendy, I think, in a way. Like, people go a lot uninformed, and I don't always think the facilitators know everything. Like, you know, I've
yeah,
I've just been around it enough to see. And so take care of yourself, make sure that you have a good support network, if you're going into these spaces afterwards, just because you don't know. There's so many things that can happen. I've seen so many different things happen to myself, you know? Um, and so it's important that like people have a good community. And there's beautiful things you can bring back, but it's important that we get you back,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of like my big message, because we need everybody here
Yeah. Yeah.
participating.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, one thing that I realized from that experience was that it's so important to be in the body, like be really present with everything that I'm doing with, you know, full present, trying to be as present as possible with everything that I do, right? Like not getting too lost in the thoughts, too lost in the mind. And for a lot of people, one of the coping mechanisms is to stay a little bit out of the body, right? And because it's difficult to be in the body because then they have to feel all the things, right? And there's so many ways to numb out now, right? There's there's a huge list, right, of Netflix and alcohol and weed and sex and parties and yeah, I recently witnessed one of my buddies out here in Vegas, just like nonstop, just doing something to just not be in his body, and it was really difficult for me to witness that, right? Where like one moment he's smoking his vape, one moment he's going to have some weed, then he's like, okay, serve me some hape, okay, let me go find some alcohol, and like I was like, whoa, man, like it was just really tough to be around that energy. And I encourage people to feel, right? To really sit with those aspects of self that need to be integrated, that need to be felt. And there's so many different ways to do that, and so many amazing facilitators and amazing medicines and practices that are out there that can do it. And it's really important to use discernment, right? To like who are we going to? How are we addressing these things, you know?
I totally know that person you're talking about too.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it's like not to judge, like our society and the culture that we grew up in and everything that we have to deal with is so intense that it makes sense that there's that we're, aspects of me like can be like this, where I cannot, it's just so intense, like, and it's just, and then we have to learn how to be with ourselves. And that's what these medicines, these experiences that can take us slightly to a higher perspective can help us integrate. But medicines are not for everybody.
Yeah.
Breathing is what's right for you. Maybe that's best for
Meditation,
you.
yoga, there's so many tools
Right.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, like your kundalini, like these things, like they're medicines too. Like it's all there's not, you don't need to ingest something to be in a medicine. Like we have medicines inside,
Yeah.
and I think that's what I realize more and more. It's like, these things, like we're about to go do this retreat with the Tibetans, right? And we're going to bring the Yawanawa there. And I'm so curious to hear about, like, because these people connect in totally different ways, right? Like here they are in the forest and they use medicines to connect, but again, they're connected also already. And then there's the Tibetans that live in the high mountains that use meditation, but it's like they're finding similar places and spaces and dreamscapes. I'm so excited to hear about this, like cross pollination
Yeah,
of
I'm so interested in that because
of
it's two
consciousness.
different parts of the world, totally different cultures,
Mm-hmm.
and just coming together to share space and that deeper wisdom and that deeper like understanding, right? Of like this reality and this life and gosh, yeah, that's fascinating. I just got back a couple of months ago from Aniwa where there was
Oh, cool.
40 elders from
Oh
different
my God,
tribes
what a
and the
feat.
different elder leaders and yeah, it was just so interesting because they had a Mongolian shaman, they had Hawaiian elders, they had Shipibo elders, they had you know people from the Amazon. I believe the Yawanawa was there, and I think one or two other tribe leaders. They had the Mamos from Colombia, and you know, and then Native American elders from America, and it was just so beautiful because the underlying teachings were all very similar, you know, even though the way that they facilitated and the way they led their ceremonies and the way that they taught and those kind of things were all had their own flavor, right? But at the core of it all, to me, it felt like it was all sharing a very similar message.
And that's what it is. It's like so interesting, like to be in that level of spirituality. Like I feel like even the words are the same. Like
Yeah.
I was recently in the this Amazon village um called Mapia. It's like a village more of the Caboclos. It's not necessarily indigenous, but it's non-indigenous people that live there.
Hmm.
And the whole time I was there, I was in a very strong process. But that's kind of like the experience I was having is like how similar everything is. Like the words in the Umbanda, which is like the African tradition that got brought through the slave trade from Africa to Brazil. The words that they're calling like grandmother is like the same in Sanskrit. And I
Yeah.
was like tripping about
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but it was like everything, and it was like coming through in this language that's universal. Didn't
Yeah.
matter that what language I speak, I could hear in this language that made so much sense to me. And so, yeah, there's something that's so much higher that's guiding, our connection, um, whatever you want to call it. And it's so beautiful, it's so universal. We're all allowed access. You don't there's not one way to access. There are many ways, there are many paths, there are many traditions, thank God. There are many ways of dress to exhibit this love, this devotion for this greatness that we're all a part of, thank God, really. Like if it's God, if it's not God, whatever, it doesn't matter to me what you want to call. But it's like this experience that I've been able to understand in my own way, and it's it's universal,
It's amazing.
you know.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. It always yeah, that aspect of this world, how we're so intertwined and interconnected like a web, it just that's so beautiful to me, like how we really are all one, and these kind of experiences just confirm that for me, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's really beautiful. Um, I had some different messages come through in my ayahuasca experience, and I know you've sat with that medicine many times. Was there any messages to humanity or to people that were really important that you received that you feel called to share?
It's not like a one thing that sticks out because I feel like all my experiences are kind of like woven into like a tapestry of everything. So it's like so hard to pull one thread. But there is like this understanding, that we're here to take care of nature. We are nature, but to also take care of the lands, the animals, the forests, the indigenous, um, to respect and uplift our brothers and sisters that carry this sacred way of being that a lot of us have forgotten.
Yeah,
Um, and also this upliftment and support of the women, that carry our children, our future generations, our and carry so much of humanity's emotional capacity, like to allow us to process and integrate
yeah,
everything that's happening. And like I process a lot of this. And yeah, and I guess my prayer too, like through all of this, is that like we can we can develop more in this mutual respect and understanding of abundance, that we can share better, as nature shares, and we can learn how to become more adaptable and cooperative, and stop hoarding so much. And it's not that, like, and this is what's so funny is like we have such limited words for what's possible, but like the fact that like we have to name someone who wants to share, like a socialist or whatever, these kinds of communist, like, no, nature is not a socialist or a communist. Nature shares because that's what nature does. And we can do that too, and we can develop new ways of being, and we can move beyond these words, that are so binary, that don't actually mean even what probably the person is even intending to say. It's just that we have such limitation in the way that we express. And so, yeah, my prayer is that we can open ourselves up to each other, to our home. Our home. This is our home. And we
Yeah.
can we can be the caretakers that we're meant to be. It's not even like to express blame because we're all in it together, but it's just like, let's work together, guys. Like, let's do this. Like, we have a beautiful place to live. Like, let's take care of it, and let's make sure that in the future generations, they get to experience the beauty and the splendor, that is our birthright. Mhm.
Absolutely. That's really beautifully said. Really beautifully said. Well, Shaina, it's been such an honor to have you on today. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much,
for,
Peter.
thank you so much. This was such a beautiful conversation, and you're welcome on back anytime.
And can I give like one shout out for the work that I'm doing now and my people?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I have Spirit of the Forest along with my colleague Angelique. But we are a voice and a place to express Indigenous wisdom. We have different events coming up. One of them is Sacred Bridge, which is happening October 2025 in upstate New York. That we're bringing the Tibetans and the Yawanawa together for like a sacred convergence. There'll also be Indigenous people from the land there. And it's going to be a really beautiful experience. And then we're going to be traveling in the US for the month of October. And so if you're curious and want to learn more, you can follow us on Instagram at Spirit of the Forest. .us, I believe. And we also have a retreat center that I help support in Brazil called Nipaihu. Nipaihu means like the owner of the medicinal plants. Nipai means medicinal plants, which in the Amazon there's thousands. Nipaihu, who is like the owner. And so this
Hmm.
is like the guardian sanctuary of the medicinal plants. It's a laboratory and research center. And so we have research centers in Mattoon Village, which is the Yawanawa village I help support, and in Bahia. And so over the next 5-10 years, the mission is to be researching all of the medicinal plants that they have in the Amazon that can help support Western ailments. And so we're already finding that there's a plant that's helping for skin cancer.
Wow.
And there's so many incredible plants. And so we sell medicinal oils and different products through our website, and we'll continue to launch more products. And we have a research institute and retreat center. And so if you want to come and experience the healing of the medicinal plants, we do plant baths and other really healing treatments that are non-invasive. You don't need to drink anything. You don't need to go into a force of any kind for the plants. Just with the baths will heal many sorts of ailments. The late Page Tata used to say, for anything that doesn't get healed through like a prayer, healing can be healed through the plants. And so there's something that work very well together. So if you feel interested, please reach out. We'd love to have you. And in 2026, we'll be doing many different retreats down there. And
Beautiful.
so, and so, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. We'll drop all those links in the description so that people can connect. Thank you so much, Shaina. It's been such an honor. Until next time, love you.
Love
Take
you.
care.